How many of you checked your phones this morning, reading at least 3 headlines before you brushed your teeth? Very well. Okay then. Imagine waking up to a flood of notifications, headlines, videos, and opinions, or even chats. All demands your full attention. In our world today, information is abundant, but truth is not. Or should I say, some information is true and some are not. And most are somewhere in between. News, opinions, and videos never stops. And in consequence, fake news and assumptions too. In fact, it's becoming harder and harder to tell what's real and what's not. This is our reality today. We lived in a digital world. And as we were constantly connected to it, we need to build skills that help us filter, question, and understand the media that we consume. And that's where the two 21st century skills or a survival tools in this digital world came in. Mabuhay ug madayaw. I am Carol Joyce and we will talk about critical thinking and media literacy skills as we will empower our minds to navigate confidently, responsibly, and wisely. In our world today, information is everywhere. It is easy to be overwhelmed. But here's a simple tip. We have access to more information, but that doesn't mean that we have also the access to more truth. Critical thinking and media literacy skills would perfectly help us to survive in this digital world. So, what exactly is critical thinking and media literacy is? To understand this chaos of overflowing information, let us define first our keywords. Critical thinking is the ability of a person to analyze objectively, aiming to ask the following queries. 1. Is this reliable? 2. Is there evidence to support the claim? And 3. Who is saying this and why? This means that looking at the facts, considering different viewpoints, and making reasoned conclusions without the influence of emotional reactions, which can help us to test and analyze its credibility. It's about being curious, it's about questioning and digging deeper instead of rejecting and merely accepting what is offered in the surface. This is to test the information's factual evidences and supporting details, finding any biased statements and avoiding biases. Now, media literacy is closely related, but it's a little broader. This is not just thinking critically, but it's about understanding how media works. It is about accessing and analyzing media contents, understanding and recognizing its techniques like emotional appeal, sensational headlines, or framing a story in a certain way to gain supporters and establish biases. Also, it helps us to identify propaganda and misinformation to create and share ethical media contents. Media literacy aiming to ask these questions. 1. What's the goal of this message? 2. Who created it? And 3. What's missing and what has been added? Through these questions, we can pause for a while and analyze information online. This teaches us to create, share, and consume media responsibly. In summary, critical thinking is like a mental armor that allows us to pause, analyze, and ask, is it true? Before reacting, sharing, or believing. On the other hand, media literacy is our compass. These help us to navigate through the storm of manipulated content, viral headlines, and algorithm-driven feeds. Why are these skills so important? It is simply because not all information is created equal. Today, anyone can post anything and make it look professional, persuasive, and even scientific. But that doesn't mean it's true. Then, the danger isn't just in fake news, but it's in our unquestioning acceptance. Critical thinking and media literacy helps us to slow down, think twice, and evaluate sources before believing or sharing. It also helps us to confront our own biases, like confirming biases which we only believe information that supports what we already think. Being aware of that can help us become more open-minded and more objective, allow us to spot credible sources, question motives behind the information, and identifying cognitive biases. One of the biggest shifts we need to make is going from passive consumption to active engagement. Asking ourselves, am I being informed or manipulated? It is our responsibility to become responsible digital citizens, not just reacting, but reflecting, not just consuming, but contributing ethically. Every scroll, like, or share is an act of engagement. So, let us be mindful instead of being manipulated. Imagine a generation that doesn't just repeat what they hear, but challenges what they see. Then, how do we build the skills? The best place to start is education. Addressing it to the present generations as they bear the future. Students must know the art of questioning, to question what they see and read, not just to memorize the facts, but to analyze the arguments, not just writing an essay, but to evaluate sources, not just watch videos, but to understand their impact. That's the power of integrating the skills into education. And when we integrate critical thinking and media literacy into all subjects, we create students who think deeply, not just score highly. Teachers were not just facilitators of learning and teaching students what to think, but they were teaching them how to think. Media is part of our day-to-day life. It can happen during a movie night, a news segment, or a scroll through social media platforms. Then, educating about critical thinking and media literacy isn't just a teacher's job, but every one of us plays an important role too. Parents and educators are called to be a model of responsible media consumers. And so, community effort contributes in fostering awareness too. Our digital world isn't slowing down. In fact, it's going to get faster, noisier, and more overwhelming. But we have a choice. We can either be a passive consumers or active thinkers. We can either be shaped by media or we can shape our own understanding. We can't control the flow of information, but we can control how we respond to it. By teaching people to think and question, we build a smarter, more resilient society. Critical thinking and media literacy are not just an educational goals. They are human skills that are essential for democracy, for empathy, and for truth. Let's make them a priority in our classrooms, in our homes, and in ourselves. In the face of noise, let's choose clarity. In the face of manipulation, let's choose mindfulness. Once again, I am Carol Joyce, leaving you a simple tip. The art of questioning leads us to understanding and gaining facts and truth. Thank you.